hyper going on, being discovered after DreamHack Austin. Here he is. He's the man that's now known for being an explosive player no matter what position.
You mean the team that Bolo was coaching?
Bolo, a coach and a successful player who's also playing later on today in a final match against DG.
All right, Villa. It will be interesting. Always an interesting map.
Interesting. Are we going to try to fill the quotation for amount of words that we can say on the essay?
No, definitely not. But it is a good map, though, and one that I think teams have really struggled on sometimes in terms of thinking they know how to play it against the other team, and then just Reciprocity, for example, really struggling on it last time.
Even though they're meant to be very comfortable on a map like Villa, somehow even
they were the first team to play it.
Yeah, literally.
So it's like, I don't know, I guess it's other teams have figured it out and caught up since then. Now this is going to be maybe rough writing for Tempo Storm if DarkZero have some idea how Tempo Storm wants to play it, because of course they have a good team of support staff over there. People like BC looking at those strats, for example, helping them play in the night. You've seen the whiteboards and all the fun toys they have over there.
But you guys at home, are you better at determining all of this than BC or Bacon for DarkZero? Let's hear it out.
That is one of the lowest percentages I've ever seen for a team. Now I'm kind of hoping they win, just because I want to see that percentage go up in the future. I mean, almost feels like bullying them that much, single digits. That being said, though, I think the team has a lot of potential.
I know you're the analyst in this position, the color and everything, but I just want to say that if Tempo Storm, in my infinite basic knowledge as a play-by-play of anything that is analysis and strategy in the game, looking at how DarkZero play, if Tempo cannot find openings because they're starting on defense, if they cannot find openings once DarkZero slow down, which they will during a round, then it's all done. This is something we saw in Reciprocity's game versus DarkZero. DarkZero know exactly how to deal with you.
Well, I think you need to shut down Skies and Mint.
Well, it goes way beyond that as well. It's just you kind of have to figure out how they're pushing you, because the moment DarkZero step into a building, then they just stop. Everything halts. Everything gets super, super slow. And this is where, in their game against Reciprocity, they were picked off kind of one by one.
Yeah.
However, if Tempo Storm aren't able to replicate that and become too complacent, then DarkZero will literally roll over them in this matchup, like a rolling thunder.
Oh, there we go.
One would say.
Interesting ban. Now, what I was going to say earlier, too, as well, is a lot of these new teams, when they come in, they're all about being gunners, just being that sort of ranked, crazy style. So banning an Ashe always an interesting choice to try and shut some of that down. Also, I wanted to mention that, just double-checking things, it doesn't look like Villa is a map that was played at all during Season 10 from DarkZero. It's interesting. Dokkaebi always a good ban as well. We didn't mention that earlier, but a good ban on Villa.
So
I may be having some issues here.
I wonder who banned it first. Tempo that banned it first. We have our quick
Tempo banned Dokkaebi.
Yeah. So it probably hints at Tempo Storm wanting to be more proactive and reactive to what DarkZero are doing by making sure they can't really have.
Well, that goes with the style I was talking about, right? They want to be able to kind of run around and just jump out. Like, was talked about in EU earlier, like you had nomad bans and stuff like that on Consulate so that people could run around a lot more free. And Dokkaebi helps shut that down, especially on Villa, where it's a very strong operator. Sometimes better than Jackal, depending on how you're playing it. You also have to deal with just a lot of people all over the map because of that basement. It just, you don't have the time to clear it and do the rest of your job.
Yeah, it's a lot of times you'll see like a Twitch being brought up on the attackers just to have the F2, the higher rate of fire, that can really shred through people. A couple drones coming in. The Ashe sometimes can do that. I guess a reasoning behind banning it, more of a target ban if required. But knowing DarkZero, I mean, they can just literally bring any shield. And it hurt them in their game against Reciprocity. But it's a possibility. And something that actually works very well on Villa still. Not so tested, but Legion is in play. So this is your counter right there. Legion being a big operator to hold on to the white stairs and to red stairs.
Yeah.
It really is a powerhouse.
An Ashe band as well. You're still probably going to get the IQ if you're getting a 3-speed or Capitao.
I would expect
especially as well. Capitao not being banned, I expect to see it. Maybe just for certain sites, depending on their takes. But it is useful, I think, pretty much on most sites. Like, take, for example, Gunvault. You can even potentially just get a Firebolt into Gunvault through the drone hole. So stuff like that.
If you want to look at it, and this is how I describe it nowadays. This is the Walmart setup. Basically, you can... And again,
It's heavily discounted.
credit to Italian Spartacus, the Warhammer 2 caster that coined the term,
Yeah,
basically.
we're about to get it back into Bandit,
Yes.
by the way, just so you know.
It's just you bring 5 operators that would pretty much do the majority of the work,
Yeah.
depending on literally any site, any map, pretty much.
Yeah.
But then if you want to get hyper specialized, that's when you go into special things. That's
Usually
when
see that at least a few rounds in, right?
Yeah. So a lot of times, if you look at this is a setup that works well. So do you bring Habana or Thermite? That's really the question. But IQ, Thatcher, Zofia is basically you have to bring it all the time, especially if Valkyrie is potentially in play. IQ in general is just great for holding flanks as well.
Puck especially as well over Sledge, just because with Sledge players you end up having to kind of cook your nades perfectly to be able to make the plays from underneath. So a nice 6th pick there as well.
Until one day maybe they add the fact that you can, throw that hammer. We've been talking about this for 2 years. Ubisoft, are you listening? Antoine, hey. Julien, are you listening?
That's interesting to me that they would choose to go Trophy first. I've said this many times before that I think Dining is a better site than Trophy. And statistically, sometimes it does seem to indicate to me that Dining is more successful. That being said, it varies by team and strategy. A lot of other contextual factors, but just we'll see if this castle strat is really going to be any kind of game changer for that. They are sectioning off a lot of this master bedroom, the closet, just really sectioning that off. And of course, that's where they're going to be taking from. So this is one case where I would say actually the Sledge would have been a better choice than the Bug. Only because that, but that being said, they have the Zofia. If they don't need to use the X-Kairos elsewhere as well, so plenty of utility to clear those as long as they know what they want to do.
Is there any breaching charges that are brought up?
Possibly the IQ or the Zofia.
The IQ or the Zofia. Usually the IQ, well, the Zofia would bring it, then the IQ would have a Claymore to kind of hold off on
Or vice versa.
Yeah, it really just depends on which position you're going to put those players in, right? So, lovely strategy there, but a quick peek here from Skies to deal with, that's a pretty sneaky angle there, but it cuts off any early rotations where maybe Tempo, Storm are still setting up. Hyper actually take a bit of damage off of his peek into the bathroom window. So far a few skirmishes, and there is a player that's hiding inside of that the dressing room. So right now, I don't know if it's Sosa or Crazy, but
here's the difficult part I see for DarkZero. Getting a hold of any Evil Eyes that might be in sight, very difficult without really exposing yourself. There's not a lot of great angles in there. There might be some, but there's not a ton where you could just easily, early in the round, take care of those in a peek. So they're really going to have to deal with those Evil Eyes later on, but the Maestro himself at least will not be around to adjust those. So they have lost the Buck and trading it for the Maestro. Honestly, I think that's a good trade for the attackers. Obviously, they don't want to trade Hyper as well. Fortunately, can't do much about his health. They still need those Evil Eyes taken out by potentially. Well, they have the Thatcher as well, I suppose. They could, even if they can't take those out, they can always at least try and hit them with the EMPs first. But they're having to use this just to try and clear Aviator first. We've got one player here just about to be engaged upon. Unfortunately, cannot vault through that hole, I don't believe. So they just get pitched from both sides. Pre-fire doesn't quite hit. Maybe they could bait them into rotating back for the. Nope, never mind.
Perfect timing. Filthy's going to get shot down here thanks to Mint. He's supposed to have support also, and where Eclipse is firing at right now. Unfortunately, Statuary is being pressured. As you can tell, there's the angle grip on the G8, and there's Hyper, low on HP, but still able to do the work against Crazy. The Castle too slow on the reactions, and leaves us with 2, the Jaeger and the Smoke. Creator and Dream.
They're throwing too many bodies out here. It seems, you should have a lot more people on site when you castle it up that heavily. I understand you want to slow them down so you can kind of have some more movement. Seems to be really working against Tempo Storm here. A Jaeger and a Smoke, at least the Smoke, still potentially useful, but the Jaeger's really not going to do anything special late round to help here. As I say that, maybe he is.
Great spot from Creators, and this is DarkZero kind of responding to the fact that they spotted Creators on his own inside the walk-in closet, and, well, they needed to deal with him somehow, just bypassing him. But he is on his own, and you see the setup from Tempo Storm with all of the barricades. There's the last shot from Hyper, though, as he does a ton of damage in the round, pretty much holding on every single major angle. The man is a machine, and DarkZero take a very convincing round number 1, which is very intelligent. This is what I always talk about when it comes to DarkZero.
Yeah.
They see how the defense is set up, where it's an aggressive one to hold on to bedroom and to the walk-in closet. They're like, you know what? We don't even have to walk through here. Let's just go the other side of the map.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, too, is they threw too many bodies at them on that side of the map. I understand the mentality of you want to burn as much time as possible on them getting Aviator, and they did an okay job of that. Problem is they lost too many people. Again, losing the Maestro, that's part of the reason the site was able to be taken so aggressively towards the end. Had the Maestro been alive, you know how bad Maestros could be to deal with when you're trying to actually take site and set up for the plant, because not only can they use the cams to hurt you from positions they've been able to hide in, but also that gun, just a beast in that. So very different setup here coming up from Tempo Storm on Dining. They're going to switch to, which again, I think is better site, but we'll see it's a very different setup because they're bringing Goyo, Mute Mozzie combo, a Vigil as well, so they're going to really be denying drones. So that the roam here should be a little bit stronger in theory if DarkZero's droning isn't on point, but also the Legion to help those roamers out potentially if he's going to be a little bit more flex off-site. See the bans there. Obviously, we don't have as many stats for Tempo Storm because DarkZero has been around for quite a bit longer, played a lot more matches, so a little bit of stats there to go with that. But as you said, DarkZero not going to vary their lineup on attack too much unless they see something they need to change. In this case, it's Skies switching over to the Sledge, possibly concerned about if they want to go for that Castle strat again. But they did see the lineup, and they have some idea where it's going to be, but the Castle was a 6th pick last time, so I think Skies just being careful. This is going to be a top-down attack, though, so Sledge will work just fine.
A lot of bullet holes here set up by Butters. Is watching maybe somebody will come down from the basement. The change, I mean, there's sometimes where you see plays coming in from basement, but it's not really that.
It's more of a rotation.
Yeah.
It's really, it's like what Canal's like kind of basement is supposed to be, that rotation point to rotate around.
Yeah, actually, that's a good comparison.
Because the kid kind of added that after Villa, and they're like, oh, hey, having a basement you can run through is kind of cool.
Maybe every now and then you might see it. Well, there's the EMP coming in. Of course, nothing to catch it on the other side. Should know that there's somebody at the top of those red stairs. And Hyper, he scrolls around, but he knows that there's a Vigil nearby. Unsure exactly where he is. Of course, that's the power of the Vigil having turned on his ERC, but there's the Goyo spotted. He's behind the desk, a very powerful position. That's kind of a... It's the way that you set up your entire strategy, right? This is your mountain, this is your anchor, and there is a lot of support from the astronomy stairs. Actually, the player in there will fall off. That's creators, and oh, this is a great spot. This is all pre-prep from Tempo Storm. They're watching those windows. They might not be able to catch anybody from DZ off.
Well, at least they were able to section off astronomy a little bit for a while with the fire from the shield, once they hit that with Zophia's lifeline. Which, again, they're going to need a lot of this utility. They have 2 grenades in addition, so it's definitely going to be enough utility cleared out as long as they use it smartly, and that's what I was saying earlier is so much you got to deal with now. You see that one shield right there, he could just shoot, but he's going to leave it up. Doesn't really need to deal with it, but much like the last round, they put a lot of defense off-site to just slow down the initial entry to the building. Unfortunately, this time it didn't result in any damage to anyone except for Mint.
Well, there's a shot to destroy the breach in charge. Should at least... Hyper... Oh, that's the wrong one. You don't have it. Did that just not stun him at all?
Not sure what he was intending to do with that, but yeah, maybe...
There's a breach charges. This is your instinct as Zofia player where you just switch over like, okay, I can just do whatever I want. Muchammer is spotted. This guy is going for the gunfight. He gets pushed, and there's Filthy. And Hot and Cold, in the meantime, actually has entered into Kitchen. He finds 1 kill pretty much for free.
There's almost no presence here as well. If he's carrying Diffuser like he is, he can just go for the plant as long as everyone else is distracted, but Dream could go back to site after that kill.
There's Mint. He can just hold off to the rotations and allow his teammate. There you go, Eclipse again. They just know the hallway is the big deal. And if you can plant right now, Vigil might not be able to deal with it.
15 seconds to go.
Well, running around.
Try and find an angle.
Double impact is firing in, but not hitting anything. The diffuser's already been set. You might call the round pretty much over at this point. Netrocell cannot go off as Eclipse sails to the other side, the nether regions pretty much. And there's Hyper watching the last drop. There you go. Your round's over. You're dead.
Good night.
Good night.
Well, Tempo Storm really committing to a lot of roam play and a lot of extending their side out, but they're also leaving the site wide open. You saw Hot and Cold taking it very early, very aggressively once they cleared enough of their initial entry. And that's looking like a problem for Tempo Storm. They seem to really be struggling with keeping these roams. And the problem with that is we were talking about this being a big map earlier. you're almost only going to have 2 people maybe set up to trade each other. But the way they're playing on the roam, they're also very spread out. So you're seeing a lot of 2v1s coming out from DarkZero. They're occasionally getting trades from Tempo Storm, but overall, they're isolating these roamers, picking them off one at a time without Tempo really being in crossfire positions or whatever, the ability to trade. And part of that is because there's limited ways you can set up on the map for that. And you're going to be droned out. They put a lot of effort in stopping the droning. But also at the same time, DarkZero knows this map well enough to be able to know where the positions are going to be being played most of the time and take that. So they're going to try this again, see if they can pull it off this time. Again, committing a lot of utility here to the master bedroom, trying to slow that down as much as possible.
They're really trying to make that Goyo work.
One thing I find interesting about Goyo, a lot of the way I've seen him played, and I know I go on about Goyo a lot, but I think he's a really cool new operator.
It's completely...
Much like Mozzie, right? But he tends to be a roamer. I've noticed a lot of people will set him up, or set up his shields, do his reinforcements, and go on the roam, much like kind of like a Jaeger would. He's like setting up shields for teammates or for area denial, whatever it be. It's mostly because your teammates can use your utility you set up. You don't have to be dedicated to it. They'll often roam, and I also noticed, despite having 2 really great guns, they're often the first to die. And I'm not sure why that is. It's just maybe they're overplaying their TCSG, thinking they can, get kills very easily. I mean, Kites sometimes suffer from the same problem, but I've especially noticed it with Goyo.
Yeah, a lot of times with Cotton and Goyo, it's like the suffering from recoil kind of meme, the DJ Khaled one. So yeah, I get it. It's definitely...
I'd be interested to see more people with the Vector just to see if it fares any better.
Oh, we do have a long barrel for the Vector, right?
Oh no. Well, one goal.
I might push all those UMP extended barrel players.
Oh yeah, there's the Pulse player. He might be playing with that right now.
Yeah, Hyper's gonna drone in, and as is tradition,
he has to clean his drone.
Go in for a quick shower, a quick bath.
There's 2 Goyo shields down.
Yeah.
They had the one earlier that they cleared in master bedroom. Yeah. So that's 2 down. I like that your drones at least don't get burned by the fire too, so you can drone through it.
Yeah.
That would be a real bummer if they burned out.
That's what you'd assume in the beginning. It's like everything destroys my drone.
Right.
Well,
there we go.
There's the Nitro. That's definitely going to shut him down.
They have at least 2 more, I believe, as well.
But do you even need the Habana for this take? That's really the big question.
No, it's just have that flexible utility. And I mean, it's working out okay for them. He was also the planter, so this time Eclipse going to be carrying that. You saw the last Goyo shield it looked like there as well. Kind of in an off position just to stop entries.
I don't know if it just blocks the window, if you can...
It looks like it might, yeah.
Oh, that's the shot. That's the one. Butters gets it. He might be at half HP, but another one for Butters. He's just finding them all. Those holes, what do they do, Devin?
I believe they work both ways, and shout out to Demo as well for quoting that earlier.
So here we are.
And Intero. Or was it Kicks? I don't remember.
Someone probably very intelligent.
Yeah, communication works both ways as well.
Yes, indeed. So there's now DarkZero trying to scramble to find a solution to this route. Unfortunately, Butters is just buttering that toast. Oh yeah, there we go. One more. You were talking about those Goyo players that die early because TCSG, but
here's my problem with those last.
Look at it. It's so.
It's an amazing gun.
Ridiculous.
And I wasn't saying the Goyo players should be dying early. I'm saying they happen to be often. That being said, though, vertical pressure. Really not working out for DarkZero. You saw it 2 rounds in a row where they just really didn't get much except for killed, fighting downwards on vertical pressure. At this point, maybe Tempo Storm should consider playing Library just because the vertical play just not working out. I mean, that round especially, obviously, it was a little stronger a vertical play upwards from Tempo Storm, but they bring a lot of C4s. The destruction from the TCSG, you mentioned the Goyo fighting upwards, that TCSG could just pound through that floor in a way that sometimes even a Scout and Key can at that range from below. So, just the level of destruction is very high on that. We will see no Goyo here for Aviator Games, though. This is the first time we're seeing Aviator Games. I rarely thought I would see that. Round 4 is the very first time to see Aviator Games in a Villa match. It's definitely an interesting change-up. There are some okay Goyo setups for this as well. They just can backfire a little bit if you are not conscious of them. Looks like we get an Evil Eye inside study that they'll have to deal with. Of course, they'll have the utility for that. Could potentially even sledge it if they wanted to risk exposing themselves to the doorway, but you also have the Thatcher who can help, so should be able to take care of that. But they do have the Bandit, so it makes me wonder if they will try any kind of Bandit tricking or impact tricking. They could have the impacts on Maestro, I believe. So I suppose they could go with that.
I don't know if they're...
Deal with, but they will have the Hibana, and Hibana actually already taking a little bit of damage, I imagine, due to a spawn peek. Tempo Storm just trying to keep the aggression level up. Trying to keep DZ on the back foot. Not always working for them, as DarkZero are up around.
Were there any of the windows that were hits on that? I'm not sure.
Yeah, not entirely sure where that came from, but obviously doesn't feel good for Hot and Cold again, who is the hard breach diffuse carrier. You don't want to lose him early because that actually burns up time having to pick up that diffuser again.
I see DarkZero waste no time coming in and clearing out Astronomy. They take out as much of this utility as humanly possible. You're setting up, you want to take it to 90. You want to make sure that there's nobody that can flank you, so you set up all your drones to have him fall on 90, have him fall on Astronomy. Make sure there's also nobody downstairs in the living room that's waiting to nitro cell you, because that happens more often than you'd think.
You saw the scared drone. Please don't Maestros at me.
Exactly.
The fear in that drone hitting the table legs like, I gotta get out of here. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah. No, it was good he did that, though. He knows where it's at now. He knows how to play against it, but he didn't want to sacrifice his drone because he's possibly going to need it later. He's also going to want to check to see if anyone's playing there, which he's doing now, having to jump over the drone hole, make sure he doesn't lose that. But he does see that the default cam is watching that, so they also possibly saw the drone. They know someone might be approaching Classical Hall 90. He's going to take out the camera, and here goes the Evil Eye.
Yep.
It's a tricky one. You really need to be on top of that, because now that's the second Evil Eye that will not be taken out by a lifeline, and that's on Skies potentially to clear, or to Thatcher. Mint, though, going to find Dream in the meantime. Again, the Maestro down early, so maybe those Evil Eyes not going to be as much of a problem.
That Evil Eye setup is pretty much the olden days of, hey, you just open the hatch under it so you can deal with it easily. Of course, no longer that big of a deal with the changes to the Evil Eyes.
You could try and grenade it from below.
But still, in this case, there was an ADS, I think, that was set to catch any lifelines being thrown at it, but it just didn't trigger there. Sky is going to take down Butters, so...
Bandit tricking happening, that's for sure.
And, well, right now the Jaeger's in a pretty precarious position. There's not much that you can do to stop this, and walls can be opened up, as, of course, the Bandit is dead, and you can tell there's nothing much that was still electrocuted. Grenade will sail around, but caught by an ADS. That's one more kill as the Jaeger will go down.
And that's the problem, is the IQ should be communicating those ADS positions, but in the meantime, it's just creators left alive anyway, so one lost grenade, not a big deal. He's going to have to fight his way out of a small little room here, and it's not going to be anything but a tomb.
Entombed inside of the gun vault. Kind of ironic.
They're going to have to add the Commando 9 to that collection now.
You have all the guns in the world, plus a big sledgehammer, yet still, all these guns, and you couldn't take your shot.
I was just thinking about it too. Naming Mozzie's utility Pest, very appropriate.
Yeah, very much.
Mozzie in general.
But here we are, DarkZero flawless in the past couple rounds. Or, well, I guess flawless in this round, and then Tempo being flawless in the round before with the Goyo.
Yeah, with the exception of that round. Like I said, it's the vertical pressure it's not working out. So, I mean, they really should work on a library strat. Like, seriously, just because they seem to be good at fighting from below when they actually play it. The problem with the round before where DarkZero won is because they didn't have enough people left on site fighting down from below. They put too many people upstairs. So I think that's an adaptation they could take advantage of in the future. In the meantime, they're going to try Aviator yet again. Nothing changing, at least in their operator lineup for the most part. Same from DarkZero. Sky's just continuing to bring the Sledge instead of the Buck, just realizing, well, we might need that Sledge utility. So, you know, whatever works for them. I know Skies plays a great Sledge, so there's really nothing wrong with that. In terms of I like having the overlapping operators in this game, the way they've continued to add, like, side grades, as you call them.
Wamai to the Jaeger.
Yeah, or even now Kali to the Thatcher.
Yeah.
Like just all these different ways of playing it, depending on what you see from the defenders, allows you to adapt. But, of course, you need to make sure you're versatile and good enough with both those operators. But it does help. I really like seeing, right now, especially in the meta, the Buck Sledge thing is really, everyone can kind of do it. And it's been very versatile. I like it.
This is why we saw both operators ban the...
Butters with 5 and everyone else with 1. That's not a great scoreboard for Tempo.
Well, I mean, it's happening.
It's certainly happening for DarkZero.
That round is definitely 100% the Goyo. There was no information for him to play off of. It was all intuition and pure aim. There's no way around it.
Also, the fact that you can do so much destruction with just single shot allows you to...
That's true.
You don't have to go crazy to start to open up the floor against them. And
No,
you
Crazy's
kill
only
someone
on
hitting
one
it,
kill
so-
anyways.
Yeah, it's true. Crazy's not doing crazy well this time, unfortunately.
Still, we're 4 rounds into this, round number 5, and DarkZero trying to clear things out. The big deal is DarkZero have already gotten 3 rounds on the attack on Villa, and I know sometimes it's such a wash away that why do we even say that this map is defender-sided? But it is. And Skies, oh no!
I need everything here. He's got a drone ahead of him, though. That's the thing is, DarkZero been doing a fantastic job droning, but the crouching is even more powerful. Traded, though, thankfully, by Hyper, who doesn't take any damage in return, at least. And that's the Jaeger down, who'd been a little bit of a thorn in their side in some previous rounds. So now they've got clear. Now, can Hyper hit this Maestro cam on the first shot when he finally goes for it? That's the real question here. There's one down. That one's a little bit of a pain. But they don't need to deal with the 91 just yet. Stuns instead might be used here to try and stop impact tricking potentially, or the Bandit actually.
Oh, there we go. There's the stuns. A second one.
There we
you're
go. That's
off.
going to be enough to stop him.
Always use double stun. That's the crowd control potential. Maybe it's time to bring out the cloud in this case. So this is really the strategy you're going for. Unfortunately, the wall did not open correctly.
Still provides line of sight behind Bar, and that's the most important part. Bar is kind of the beachhead because it's indestructible. I feel like at some point there might be like a silent change in the patch where suddenly you could shoot through it, and like that this site becomes like the least played site.
Honestly, it is such a strong position. That bar is made of adamantium.
Yeah, it really is.
So, I don't know how much money the Italians are spending in this, but still.
I wouldn't trust the water from it though. Probably a lot of lead in there.
I think you're too drunk. You'd be too drunk to find out regardless. Here we are, though.
Oh, just barely missing his shots, but also the shots on him barely missing. Still, I don't believe he's taken out that Evil Eye yet. Nope, still sitting there. No one's watching it, though. That's the interesting part to me is there's 2 dead players on tempo. Could be calling out when that Zofia is peeking.
Smoke will go off to slow things down a bit. I'm not sure if Crazy has anything more. He's just used 2 of them. I'm not sure about that play there, Crazy. And he's dead. It doesn't matter. They just collapse right on him. And DarkZero losing only Skies early on. It should have probably waited a bit to get that drone in position. Still, doesn't matter. DarkZero end up with a W. Heavily favored towards the dark side.
Yep.
And now we get into round number 6 with a massive advantage on the attacking side.
I mean, it's not a huge surprise. There's been a lot of shift over towards attackers winning a lot now on this map, but it varies. I don't know if, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I feel like there may not be as consistent of a this is attacker-sided, defender-sided on this map anymore, because it used to be heavily defender-sided. And then we started seeing a lot of attack wins, and I still feel like we see a bit of back and forth now. But right now, I would say it's more DarkZero-sided than it is necessarily just one side or the other. The sneaky 6 pick from the Castle to the Goyo. Eclipse going to change up to the Jackal, though. Oh, no, the Lion. There we go. I mean, the way they're playing fast and loose, that's a good adaptation. I mean, the Dokkaebi also would have been good, but it's banned, so I think that's a smart choice. I mean, we'll see if it pays off. Obviously, they got to take out Butters on that Goyo once they figure out he's on that again. Like you said before, he was very effective on that, at least in terms of the way he was fighting upwards. But this is going to be, again, their only successful site. They're going back to it because they can now, finally. They had to play some other site the last 2 rounds. They will try this again. This is where I think DarkZero need to apply smarter horizontal pressure. Just enough vertical pressure to get them out of position, and then not overcommit to it and get shot through the floor.
10 seconds of insertion.
You know what? I want to look down only to see a bullet come straight at your face. It's just...
But this is the problem, like specifically playing against a team defending inside of Kitchen, is that pressuring from the horizontal side, the actual floor itself, is very difficult. You're kind of locked into droning so many different positions that you need to commit a lot of manpower.
I mean, DarkZero, though, as we've seen, have been doing a lot of really good droning for each other. It's not a lot of droning for themselves, which has been good to see. I think that's definitely paying off for them in terms of making sure they have the intel, because you see them collapse on positions of Tempo Storm players fairly often, and that is why they're able to isolate so many roamers in these 2v1 situations, where they're at the very least trading. Outside of that one bad round, I'm not sure they have a single time they've been killed. They haven't traded it, possibly now with that exception, as Butters once again doing well with this Goyo. On Disguise, untraded.
Man, I wish I had some toast right now because...
Yeah, or some marshmallows.
Right now, he is just doing so much work. Skies, again, the first to fall with no refrag. That's really the important part.
Yeah.
No refrag. There's nobody that's kind of just firing as well on their side to at least control people, pull them into a tighter corner to play against. Eclipse is kind of the only one that can do anything.
Ooh, bet he wishes he was IQ this round.
Yep, unfortunate. There's a drone taken away. UND will be popped to walk in, but he loses to Filthy, who finally goes down to Hyper. The work's already been done. You took down the Sledge, you took down the Lion. So basically your big crutches, and well, now you have Goyo that 2-taps people across the map.
Got 1 kill upstairs, rotated downstairs smartly because of the downstairs presence was their only weakness before. They're playing it exactly how they should be.
And you're going to analyze this. Goyo isn't even using his Volcan.
No, but he did set it up and delayed them quite a bit. Gave them the opportunity to actually get out of there because the fire, when they were taking out his shields, actually slowed down their push and gave them the ability to escape with his 1 kill and turn it into a second from downstairs.
That's in astronomy, of course. It's really bad when you're using
that's desperation.
Really it's not like you can fault him for it. At this point, there's not much that you can do. Mint
didn't click fast enough.
Nope. And he knows. He's exercising a lot of restraint.
Absolutely. I'm not saying that was the wrong choice. Just, had he been able to click on the head, obviously that would have been great, but he wasn't, and don't give away your position. He needs to be flanked. That's the right time to do it. Now Creator's down. Guma going to slow him down a little bit. At least they have 40 seconds left to play with. But not a lot of utility. They have 3 flashbangs here they could throw in. Try and help Mint out on flank potentially as well. But they need to get close together here to make this a 2v3 where they can at least trade.
He knows that there's a mute to deal with, but the goo mines are definitely doing their work. We're at the last 20 seconds, and goo mines are going to be aplenty. That is for sure.
Costing him a lot of time.
You'd love to have even any sort of soft destruction. That's the shot. Hot and Cold finds Dream. If he can find just one more play inside of the kitchen, go for him. You're going for the fight. Hot and Cold out of ammo. Mint's going to take down one. They're going to rush for the last one. It's Butters. He's got the TCSG's hand. He turns around, but Butters is ready for him. Mint goes out. TCSG again.
So close to being a win, though.
Look at that recoil control.
And that's part of the reason people were so scared about Goya. It wasn't just the shields, it's the fact that he gets that TCSG as well.
Vector who?
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, if for some reason the TCSG gets nerfed or something like that, then people will just go to the Vector. So, very strong operator. And again, the only bomb site the Tempo Storm were able to defend successfully. I think they should get a library strat. But interestingly enough, Dining going to be the first site here for DarkZero on the side switch. They are also going to bring a Goyo. So we'll see if Mint can channel a little bit of Butters there. Sky's going to sneak to the Legion, so they're not as expecting of those goo mines. So hopefully he can stay alive long enough to put quite a few of those out. We'll see how they play on the defense, though. Obviously did quite well on the attack. 4-2 split, pretty good. Now they're going to be playing against what I imagine might be an aggressive Tempo Storm, especially with the Jackal in play to help them out, track everyone down. But otherwise, basically the same lineup that we saw from some of the later rounds of DarkZero. Defense as well, similar lineup to what we saw from Tempo Storm. So I'd say the meta somewhat established on this map here. Goyo shield's going up once again, similar to the way that Tempo were playing it, using them to somewhat delay upstairs in terms of slowing them down from that bedroom entry. As you've said before, the bedroom, of course, the best place to enter for much of the map, even if it's the bomb site. Just making sure that you can take control of that corner. And that's the thing, is a lot of people wonder where they should enter on maps. Here's the easiest solution for you. Anywhere you can enter where you don't have to watch your back, that's where you should go in.
Basically.
Anywhere you can take securely. My favorite example was Small Tower on Oregon.
Yeah.
We're taking from the west side because you take into that room, and as you take progress, people can't take behind you. And that's always the philosophy for good entry in this game, and that's why Master Bedroom's so good, because you can take and then just push up to Astronomy and Trophy, and you can get pretty good control from there.
Yeah, and in Office it's a bit more difficult to go into Aviator Games Room, but still, it is a very valid strategy coming in there.
Study is an example, right?
Exactly. So your strategies are present. Always, if your opponents are defending on one side of the map, it's way better to enter from the other side so you don't have to deal with people pushing in your back. I love this from Tempo Storm. It literally mimics what we're talking about right now. Go from the other side, make sure that you cleared that in a wave, and then you know that you'll have to deal with your opponents in a specific side of the map. DarkZero, they failed a lot trying to push into bedroom.
Yeah, it's really slowed down here, and Butters, again, he's basically carrying his team right now. And I hate to say that, but you saw it from the scoreboard. He's doing work.
Oh my God! They line up! That's a 3K! He can get one more?
He's about to, at this rate.
Oh my God,
Kind of
Butters.
trapped in here, but they don't have to push him. They can just wait. But that's also going to keep Butters busy. But Butters got to plant down. All he's got to do is hold this. This is nigh impossible for DarkZero to come back from unless Butters really whips it. He could throw a grenade right now and decides not to, and it costs him his life. Hyper, well done.
Butters right now, MVP of the game for everybody on the Tempo Storm side. Hyper trying to retake here, but he barely has any HP. And Sky's also trying to come around the corner. He's going to be spotted. No, yeah, well, actually, let's say that. That's Dream. Take him out. Who's left? There you go. Bye-bye. Good night.
I assume this means Butters is doing better from when he was in the hospital. I believe that was Butters, right?
I don't remember, actually.
I think it was. But either way, he's doing quite well today. So, Dining, not quite the victory for DarkZero as it was for Tempo Storm. To be fair, Tempo Storm lost it once as well, but it was a way more horizontal pressure from Tempo Storm, and that's what I was talking about, that DarkZero should have been doing. Attacking a lot more horizontally, taking control of a lot more of the downstairs, corralling them a bit more into sight, and just taking advantage of, especially the Jackal. You saw, for example, the Jackal actually firing at where his pings were located. It looked like he was pre-firing doors, but it was really he was trying to take advantage of where his pings were hitting, but also line up potential shots with those pings once those doors were open. So it was good to see that, really taking advantage of playing that way. And he's also Butters, of course, definitely taking advantage of that as well, playing downstairs. Just the vertical pressure, again, mostly just use it to kind of move them out of positions, and then maybe have one person play up there when you need them to, but don't over-peak it. We'll see, though. They're going to try again. Maybe they'll play it a little bit better this time. Maybe they can have a little bit more upstairs presence as well, or maybe not, depending on how they feel about that attack. But they could go for a little bit more of a retake strategy. However, you know that they're going to take Master Bedroom. So maybe you can even play a bit more on the Aviator game side.
You say that you know they're going to take Bedroom, but none of that happened in the last round, right? You just had one player walking up the kitchen stock room from the basement, and then they're like, okay, well, I guess this is how it's going to go.
Yeah.
So I don't know right now. I really don't know who to put all of this on, because in the last round, Tempo Storm really went for the wide sweep from one side of the map to the other, pressured everybody in, and then Butters just walked.
I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but Tempo Storm have been winning the rounds where they're doing what I'm suggesting they do. So
I hear many horns a-blaring.
My point, though, is that there are better ways to do it based off of what you've seen from the other team, and they are trying to adapt. They might overplay this here a little bit in terms of if they get a little too peak heavy, but they are tracking players down, and that's what they need to do to clear this top floor. Still about a minute in. Players left to find, as no one's been hurt just yet.
10-4 on that one.
A lot of wooden barricades up as well, though, to really slow this down, and also really give the roamers a chance, if they want to back off back to site, to just burn time and then jump back. Like, for example, the player inside Trophy could just jump into the middle, into the red hallway and rotate. More footprints being spotted here by Filthy, appropriately named 4 footprints.
It's an old one, but that'll do.
Yeah.
Of course, the wooden barricades are basically coming from the Canadian school of thought.
Really, he is, especially when he's playing Pulse. It's a very good strategy.
Did you know, well, today...
Oh, it jumped it right on his head.
Today, I watched one of those videos, well, all 3 videos that exist that are tutorials, quote-unquote, for Rainbow Six, because I was waiting for the servers to go back online after the update. And there's literally one that is just about barricades, and I'm like, does Canadian just watch this all day, every day?
He's been doing that for so long, though. That's, I mean, I go back to like an old Oregon match where I remember seeing him do that for his Pulse roams. So it sounded like a lot of explosions going off here, but yet no one being hurt except for Butters with a slight scratch.
Yeah, DarkZero, if they remain on site with nobody pressing them from above, then this actually works. Of course, having the extra manpower for it, but...
That's the problem is Butters is not downstairs this time.
Yeah.
And he was the one really doing work from that horizontal pressure. He might have even been the one that was entering from the pantry you're talking about. Oh, there was a little bit of overplaying your hand. Hot Cold going to pay the price, but Skies trades it back on Filthy. Butter's still alive, though, and that's the important thing for Tempo, as Crazy falls next.
And those smokes to use in the remainder of this round, as with 27 seconds, the Jackal isn't really the biggest pick outside of those smokes. Butters is 75 HP right now. The Zofia is definitely the big one. And there, no! Oh, Butters, he gets it! He's solo at HP still, but Hyper is taken out. 3v3 as Eclipse gets 1, but Creators on the refract. 2v2 advantage. Now, if they can stop this diffuser from going down, it turns around the corner, and Mitt stops it pretty much. That's the round over. DarkZero they hold on to the same angles. Together, they double up on it. With 2 bodies, you're bound to get a refrag no matter what.
That's all they needed at the end. And Butters, the last to die, because he's still doing work. Fortunately, the rest of the team really needs to pick it up. If they do and Butters continues on that, they could be winning a lot more rounds than they are. We'll see Aviator again, pretty deep in the 3rd round. We've seen adaptations on Dining. It's been interesting because Dining, like I said, I think is a great site, and I think seeing these teams, rather than just switch off of it, try and make adaptations, we've seen a lot of that in this matchup. I think it'll be interesting. You know, I might even just take a look back at Dining Room defenses later, just to really kind of break down the adaptations, because it's been interesting.
Someone's going to stay up all day.
Sure, right? It takes so long.
I mean, when we're done with this, it's not like you're just going to go to sleep, right?
Yeah, right.
Sleep.
What is that? Is that what did?
A normal, healthy lifestyle. Nerd.
Well, DarkZero looking like they want to put this away, but they still got to win 2 more rounds to get their sleep. They are bringing a Kaed. I think that might be the first one we've seen.
Yep, and that's something that Tempo Storm failed to bring.
Yeah, but it is interestingly a TCSG nonetheless without the Goyle still. But like you said, yeah, that is, for this particular bomb site, very useful. There is only going to be the Habana for the Heart Breach.
So a lot of reinforcements that are set on the bedroom, pretty much the entire...
Butters.
Oh my god, did he just get 14 kills?
Yeah, I'd love to see his,
in 8 rounds.
KD right now. I mean, 14-6 is... That's over 2.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's a 2...
I mean, you don't want to do that because you want your
2.33.
team to be doing work too, but...
That's a 2.33, and they're getting 3 rounds off of it.
Look at you doing math. So proud.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like math and physics and chemistry were like half of everything that we did. It's not like I spent 6 years to then watch Parker's glazing face, you know, butter my toast and blind me in my everyday job. Who would have thought?
Butter that bald head.
Yeah. Stay in school, kids.
Yeah. Don't be like Parker. No, I'm just kidding. He graduated, I'm sure. Filthy, try and take advantage of vertical pressure upward. Something we've seen before is the old, oh, well, you don't have a buck for pressure upwards. Use the secondary shotgun, but Butters still on one. He is going to go for a 2 in a row already. Can you at least refrag this man?
Oh my god.
I think Sledge is his role, for sure, too.
That when you're on fire with an L85, you just feel so confident.
Yeah. Sledge and Goyle, those are his ops.
Fair enough. Fair enough. He's doing a lot of work, and he's looking for more. He's already gotten 2 kills in this round. And Mint's very low, and HP's already down on the floor. Butter is traded off, and finally getting shot down here. But the site is open, pretty much. DarkZero are going to get shot down, and there's the round done. I mean, as soon as it... What just happened?
Butter softened them up, then Jackal tracking, and just playing smart against the few remaining defenders who were alone. Not a whole lot they could do back against it except for try and win gunfights, and they were not doing that.
Yeah, there's sort of a there's like a cooking strategy in here.
Yeah.
You heat up the pan, you butter it up with some coconut butter, and then
then DarkZero gets burned.
Yep. Because you didn't put enough butter.
You said coconut butter?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware there was
cocoa oil / butter.
I wasn't aware there was a coconut butter.
I can't believe it's not butter.
All right, but it's not. It's coconut. Well, living room library. Here we go. Finally going to see it. It is a rarer site. I used to say a rare site, but it is less rare lately.
I think people are trying to try different things, flavor of the week, you know.
Well, you really need to expand your repertoire as well. You want to make sure that you have more sites you can defend when you are successful and you have to have a 3rd site. You don't want to be forced into one specific site. You want to have some flexibility there. And a team like DarkZero, you know, they have a ton of strats. This is a team that has almost nothing but pocket strats and seemingly, 10 tac vests worth with pockets. So it's working out quite well for them in terms of having that flexibility, but at the same time, this is a tough site to defend just because of the difficulty in defending that living room. It's very open, and the library as well. It's a tricky site. There are a lot of little places you can hide in library, but those are also expected. Things can get opened on you. So we'll see a little bit of upstairs pressure from the defenders again as well. You don't want to give them that because then, well, they'll start to use that downwards on the library. Again, Butter's just going crazy. This has definitely been his match. And we saw some good plays from some of the other players last round as well. There's been a few here and there from Tempo Storm. Good follow-ups to Butter's kills.
Why is it so odd that whenever we end up watching Villa, we keep saying, oh, you know, map, defense, strong on this. And then this happens.
I mean, a lot of the strength of the defense has been figured out how to counter it for the most part. And so, you know, it used to all be about, like, oh, you couldn't get the aviator wall open. That became a huge struggle. People got stuck with that. Same with getting stuck inside, trying to open up from master bedroom. Like, those sorts of things have kind of been figured out. And then the rest of this, it just, again, a lot of times as well, though, you're catching a lot of 1v1s or 2v1s on the defenders. And they're not trading a lot of the time on defense. I think that's a problem because it's so spread out. Eclipse, though, has taken a lot of damage.
This is the pressure.
Ooh.
And there's Crazy. That's Hyper taken away. You pressure in, and there's somebody else watching your location. There's the Legion that's going to get spotted, and that's a standard position to put him on pretty much any map. Legion on a staircase with goo mines all around him is basically the biggest bane of every attacker's existence. Filthy, avoiding damage there for the team. He still finds Eclipse with both of the SAS ops down in the mute and the smoke, and they keep tracking that Legion. He's not going anywhere.
That's working out very well for Tempo Storm.
There's no nitro. It's been used, and it didn't do anything.
Yeah, unfortunately, it might have opened up maybe a hole that he could have even been used for a desperate rotation hole if need be. But yeah, it's you always want Pulse to get at least one kill for a C4. If not, then it's pretty tricky. Luckily, he still provided intel, at least, but you don't want to have to try and use that ump through the floor. It's not the most powerful weapon to shoot people up through. A lot of, speaking of which, a lot of holes being opened here still by Butters. Like the shield on the pool table, make sure it's very difficult to get into that pocket.
Still, definitely wasn't useful.
No, unfortunately that room cleared out now.
There's still one stun Gashmot there on Crazy to walk in if need be. Creators gets 2! Hot and Cold and Skies. And there's Mint with Creators for 3. Flawless from
How many flawless rounds now? Has it been at least 2, maybe 3 from Tempo Storm? This is
a third one, at least the third one we've had in total, but probably our 4th.
Pretty sure there's been at least 2 attack flawless rounds.
Production, can we like count these up?
Yeah, it's crazy. When they're on, they're pummeling again so many solo DarkZero players.
How do you even like?
They need to play on site as a team, and like if they're gonna roam, they need a better fallback plan.
I like this IQ. This is a direct response to the Pulse as well. The Mozzie, of course, you're able to clear that. There's the goo mines that you can deal with. Overall, IQ is a great pick, plus the fact that usually she is your flank watch. Claymores aplenty. You can bring breaching charges as well.
I think they were better off with the Jackal, mostly because Hyper now on the Vigil as well. And you can still track Pulse with Jackal, because he's going to be leaving a lot of footprints in his roam. And in doing so, you can still find him and track him just as well as you would with IQ, maybe even better, because range doesn't necessarily matter with those pings the way it does for IQ's scanner. However, that being said, actually, IQ also, what am I thinking, a secondary counter to Vigil as well. So either one's going to deal with Vigil. So never mind, I guess scratch that. It's fine. Filthy can play IQ. Permission granted.
Attackers are heading out to
Goyo being played again here. Mint bringing that out. Mint and Hyper doing the best here, but Eclipse following up closely. Skies hasn't had the best match. Maybe that's helping things out a little bit. Butters looking pretty good. Still at 16. But we're seeing other players like Filthy and Creators stepping up. Definitely helping things. But again, lack of trades. Just too many 2v1s on roamers. That's what attackers should be doing.
Yeah.
But defenders really need more crossfires here. They really need more positions where they're able to get those trades. And I know we've said trades a lot, maybe even more times than we've said interesting, just because that's the name of the game. And it is interesting.
It is indeed.
So we'll see if they can figure out some better way to push back against these attackers and isolate them.
So there's Nitro Cell that sailed over, but again, ineffective. Tempo Storm making their way into the bedroom. They make sure that Crazy's around as well. There we go. Watch right stairs. Nobody around there, but there is somebody inside of Trophy. Scanning around for goo mines, and well, unfortunately, you hit that. This guy's already dropped down.
Hot and Cold, pretty low in health as well, unfortunately for the Pulse. It's not going to be great if they find him. It's going to be a pretty easy kill.
Still, at least one more Nitro Cell left on DarkZero, and Hot and Cold could definitely be the guiding hand to salvation. All hail the God Emperor.
Definitely a possibility here is this is a much slower round for Tempo Storm. DarkZero staying alive a lot longer. They might be able to get back to site and pretty much play a defense time stall if possible. Pulse, you have no health. What are you doing? And getting away with it. Those bars, very difficult to deal with if he happens to be at the right angle, and he was. Perfect 45-degree angle, making it difficult for Filthy to do anything. Hot and Cold somehow surviving, taking more damage even, yet not dying. That's the important thing here, is he's going to continue to provide intel to the players on site where the attack is coming from, allowing them to adapt their positions to defend accordingly. And 45 seconds or so left for this push to happen. Too many players upstairs still.
Yeah, and you haven't found an opener. Not even one player is dead from DarkZero.
This almost always guarantees a round loss when you're doing this.
Pretty much.
The round.
You know that the defenders are going to have a big advantage because, in general, the sites kind of lend themselves to the defense. There's reinforcements, all the such that you have to deal with, and, of course, you're walking into angles that you might not be prepared for. The defenders will only have a few to watch. So, there's your first Guzmot sailing over, but there's nobody there. It's just a check. Butters walking in. It's crazy. Finds one mint in the refrag, but Creators gets one as Eclipse and Hyper. Some of their own, and there's Eclipse. Hot and Cold finding the last two. DarkZero rebound finally.
That was a very important round for Tempo Storm as well now, because now the most they can get is 1 point and effectively double their score so far. Like, it's not a good position to be in for a team that seems to be struggling already and finally seems to be having a decent match. DarkZero as well, getting at least 1 point to help them where they're sitting right now. But early on, you want to bank as many points as you can in case you have a rough second half of the season, especially if you make any roster changes and it takes some time to adapt. We'll see Aviator again here as an attempt. Dining so far, again, the only site won on defense, period. If I'm reading this correctly here. That's it. Just Dining. No one can win anything else in this matchup.
What is happening today?
It's
this opposite day.
At least it proves my point of it being good sight. So there's that, I suppose.
Do you think that bar has been a big deal on it? Today, specifically.
It's hard to say. You know, again, I think there's certain things we've pointed out that have been a critical factor in a lot of this. But it's surprising that Aviator has been such a struggle for defenders. Because it's not like the attackers are doing anything extremely special in how they're attacking it. A lot of people just dying due to misplay, like being in the wrong position or just not winning their gunfights on the attacks. Attackers, though, also taking advantage of knowing pretty much how defenders are going to be playing Aviator, just because it had been such a standard site for so long. And that's why, that is part of the reason you see standard sites rotate out a little bit.
That's true.
Is, you know, people figure them out because they play them so often.
So you've been seeing, I guess, more living room that's been played nowadays, right?
Yeah, I think that's part of it as well, for sure. I mean, we've seen Aviator not show up till the third or fourth defensive round for both teams now, so. Hyper there at least finally hitting double digits.
It's a double 2-kill death ratio for Butters. The man is on fire right now.
Certainly going to help his rating for the season, which probably was not great before today.
I think it was the highest rated on the player.
Is it?
I'm not sure. We'll take a look at that. It doesn't matter anyways.
I believe he was our highlight player, though, one of the times, if I remember correctly. Not sure.
So, Crazy, just waiting up on the balcony, awaiting his teammates to give him some info. Now, I assume that the reinforcements from the outside in are used to block more of these stuns. It is a valid strategy. It works relatively often. And then we're going to see if it actually works in this case with those the impacts and with the Guzmot, the stuns from Zofia. Going to check for the Evil Eye that in the previous round was not taken away, but you can bring a fast grenade. There should be an ADS around the corner that Tempo at least were running in 90. No, there isn't. It's clear. You can go for it.
Yeah. It could have been cleared from the window if it was further back there. Well, either way, you see them placing the thermite charge on the floor to try and open up that small hole at the bottom here. Let's see if they successfully do that. If so, that gives them an angle into the bar, and that puts them out of position. Makes it a little bit easier for you to make sure they can't K-trick or impact trick. in the future and use that secondary breach charge to open up the wall into games.
And by the way, a lot of people might not know this, but yeah, you can place the thermite charge right next to a hatch, to a wall, and if it's right next to it, it will destroy it.
Still works on Oregon.
Yeah.
And take out from the school wall.
Exactly, onto the hatch.
Let's say it's mute jammed.
So, you know, it's a valid strategy. It works very well. And in this case, what you would expect is teams that just come in and blast the actual floorboards with a shotgun, because you still need some, I don't know
what
about
are you?
this.
Don't just run in blind. Are you kidding me? I mean, I understand running towards bar because that's where people typically are, but you need to drone that first.
Not even looking the right way. There's Hyper Defiant Filthy as well. The round is falling apart.
Diffuser sitting on the floor as well.
That is the worst time. That is genuinely the worst time to make a mistake like that. And Eclipse will find one more kill. This round is as good as done, if you ask me. Crazy's going to keep on firing, and he has dropped hot and cold. The skies will find Dream all onto Crazy. Peeks around the corner, but there's a Maestro. He's going to keep on firing. Flawless from DarkZero. And yet another flawless round.
Yeah,
We had like
so
6 flawless rounds this game.
There was a lot, and that's interesting. That there we go. Sure is. I mean, so the thing that's most interesting about that is it was from both teams. It wasn't just one team going off. Both teams went off, and surprisingly, I mean, I'll be honest. I don't think most people thought Tempo Storm would do nearly that well.
No,
against DarkZero
100%.
especially. But a lot of that, again, rests on Butter shoulders. Filthy and Creators, though, definitely showed up quite a bit. Dream and Crazy didn't have the best game, and had they had a better game, maybe that would have made the difference to be able to get it to 6-6 draw. But that was very close to a draw, considering DarkZero. Very good team, but this is a team, again, that didn't show, to my recollection, Villa at all last season. And so that might have actually worked against Tempo Storm as well, because they didn't have VODs to review. But it also meant lack of experience in Pro League matches.
Walking into the site like that, I don't know what
that was. Yeah.
That was throwing your entire round and game away.
Yeah.
Everything that you did in the previous rounds meant nothing by that point.
And you could have checked by looking through the hole that Thermite created to see if there was someone playing bar first, because he was running straight for bar. He was going for play, and you see that very, very often is people, when they run in that doorway, go straight for the player in bar and just overwhelm him as fast as they can. And it works often. A lot of times you have to do it with 2 people because you end up having to trade one. But you get the guy behind bar, and that's usually the most important thing to do, because once you have that bar, then you can use it for your own offense. And, you know, it's cover, very strong cover, as we said. You can then fight gun vault. You can try and cover for someone to plant behind the bar with you. And there's very little they could do except for even rotate out the door to study and try and use the hole that Thermite himself created against them. Nonetheless, though, it didn't matter because they threw, as you said, their life away. And then Smoke did a fantastic job of denying them picking up the defuse by hitting those smokes on the doorway because he lived, and had the shotgun ready as well if they decided to run through that smoke. So overall, good plays by DarkZero. A lot of mistakes made from both teams, but we saw a lot of adaptations. That's the best part of that match. So is we saw flawless runs because teams adapted.
Well, we finally got a victory on the attacking side. So let's take a quick chat and have a talk with DarkZero. Good evening, Hot and Cold. Congratulations on your victory.
Milosh, thank you. Thank you very much.
It really looked like a bit of a tough game here against Tempo Storm. I don't think, as Devin was saying, anybody was really expecting that, but it seemed like their ability to smash at your flank was very distinct. How did you try to deal with that and adapt to it until the very final round?
I think our attacking side was obviously like very good. You know, 4-2 half on attack is very, very good for Villa. But on defense, I think we're just like losing to like a lot of mistakes, us being, you know, like out of position a lot, and then Butter's just like hitting every shot he had.
But do you attribute that on like lack of information to position yourself correctly? What was the big mistake that you were seeing within your team's play and yourselves?
I mean, I think we had the info. It was just like very small like positioning mistakes and like timing. I think they just had the timing on their side. So
on your very first round on attack, because I really want to highlight this, not many teams do this, even though it should be more of a system. You spotted that there's a defense in Trophy and Statuary. There's defense also soft into Bedroom with a shield in there, with a castle barricade. Your reaction is to push from Aviator Game Room. Can you explain for everybody the basics behind this, and why do you go for this strat in this case? Just to enlighten people.
If they're doing, you know, if they're a Trophy defense and they're extended into Master, that's what we call it, extension. if they're extended in the master, obviously you don't want to fight their extended because I mean that's why they're doing it. So you just rotate to the other side and then clear that, and then basically the extend means nothing now.
Yeah. In that case, there's no reaction. They even had a player inside of the walk-in closet, which you completely bypass that, right? So it kind of works out well for you. But yeah, here we are at the end, a victory for you, even though it was a bit of a tough one. Anything you'd like to say to everybody out there watching this match?
Sorry to our fans. We're playing pretty fucking sloppy. Oh, sorry. Did not mean to say that. Playing really sloppy right now. I don't really think it's like too big of issues. We just need to fix our small mistakes. We'll be fine. And thank you for supporting us.
All right, well, Hanko, thank you so much. And family show, as always. No worries. It happens to everyone. Good night.
Good night.